On topical back with another video. I'm Strange Ring. You read the title. Let's get on to brass tacks. I gave 40-year-old version a 9 out of 10 wings.
Why? Why?
It's a film about following your dreams and not selling out who you are as a person. It tells it in a funny and very fresh way. It has a clear and distinctive and a personal voice, which we don't get that a lot in Hollywood, so I appreciate that as a viewer. And that voice, it's not going to be duplicated, so you gotta love that. And that in itself adds charm to the script and the story and the scenes and makes the film feel extraordinary. Like, it's a great experience. Like I said, you're not going to get another experience like this unless it's from that filmmaker. And that experience and that put your voice on something that's been done so many times. I think that is incredible. I love hip hop and rap, and if you couldn't tell by the last clip. So I love that it celebrates that genre of music that doesn't get celebrated a lot. And you have a clear love by the youth in the film and the youthful sound of something like a Lil Uzi Vert or Drake or Future Young Thug, people that make music today. Like, she teaches a class and those kids really love rap music, and it's throughout the film that shows their love for this modern rap music that she wasn't used to, because when she listened to rap music like that, it was in the 90s, and that was new and that was fresh, and that sound has modified over the years for sure. But it says that sound is okay, and that 90s sound is okay too. And that's what I like about it, because a lot of old heads in hip-hop, it be like, oh, that shit's trash, that shit ain't no Jay-Z, that shit's not Nas. But this film says, oh, you love that sound? Well, that's okay. And it sounds different, and it doesn't always tell a story, but I love that. I love new modern hip-hop as much as I love old hip-hop. You know, I love Lil Uzi Vert, but I also love J. Cole, Wu-Tang, Jay-Z, Nas, Kanye West. He was a great storyteller and a great musician. Kendrick Lamar. Like, there's so many different styles of rap music, and storytelling, that's her main focus. That's what she's looking for in her rhymes. So I love that, and I love that it mixes it with modern hip-hop, and it shows that, hey, these both different sounds, different styles of rap, it's okay to like them both, because I like them both. So I love that, and I love that part of the film, and I'm glad it didn't condemn any style of rap, but it makes the viewer understand why their styles and the story is different, and how that is important to the culture.
That's right, man. That's right.
Instead of the dialogue telling the story like films usually do, this has the option to tell how she feels through raps and her lyrics, her bars. And for me personally, it immediately makes me listen harder, because I want to see if she got bars. I want to see if she's spitting or not. So, and it does, and for it to do that through raps, and a person who's almost 40, a female that's almost 40, is something you're not going to see in modern hip hop a lot. It makes it feel super fresh and inventive, and it feels like it is new. It puts such a new feel on the film that we haven't seen before. So as a viewer, an audience member, definitely appreciate that. And it makes it easy for anyone to watch this movie too. Because if you're old, you can relate to that experience of being a 40-year-old woman. If you're young, like I am, and not a 40-year-old woman, I can appreciate the rap, the hip-hop, the art of the film, how it was made, and I can put myself in those shoes because the storytelling is so well done. So old people can relate to it. The rap doesn't take over the film enough where it's just a rap movie, and there's enough rap to grab that younger generation. So it's a good balance of both. And the audience, I think that's the most important, because you're telling a story and you don't want to be preaching to the choir. So for this film to do what it does, it makes a huge audience for itself.
Side note.
One thing I loved, and I felt like I picked up on, I'm not sure if it's 100% the reason or inspired, but this movie really felt like Spike Lee. She's got to have it. The film, to me, viewing that and seeing Spike Lee's film, it's just a very small marker that film is moving in the right direction, more progressive. They're letting black filmmakers in to learn, tell these stories. And these stories are inspired by Spike Lee's work because he was doing it since the 80s and getting the black experience out for that audience to definitely watch, and for white people like myself to view and understand mindset, culture, things like that, the black experience. So to see that in this film and having a film in this style and directing, it felt like a black filmmaker watched Spike Lee and was inspired. And that's a beautiful thing because that means that's a second generational thing.
Fucking right.
He left his mark on the world. He did what he was set out to do as a filmmaker. He inspired people, and it just feels very beautiful and very like, man, like you did your thing, Spike. So I might be wrong, and you might be sitting there thinking, that's just my perspective. I got that because of both films are in black and white.
Now, that's just one example.
You kept going back to people having their scene, and there's pictures up here of whether old pictures of themselves, pictures, artwork, stuff like that being put over the dialogue, the conversation to make it more interesting, to tell a deeper story than what they're really saying. So they do that in both films. There's also one scene of color in both films. So that's why I put 2 and 2 together. I may be wrong, but if I'm not, then that's cool. It's a beautiful thing, like I said before. But speaking of directing, Rhonda Blank, she wrote it, stars in it, directs it. Her direction in this film is perfect. From the acting, dialogue, and shots, it feels like clockwork. They're all moving at once, and it moves so fluent and so well together. It feels like a documentary.
That there's impressive.
The characters feel very real, and I just said it feels like a documentary, so obviously. And the New York City, having that feel like a character is very important. It feels very lost in some movies nowadays. You just throw in New York City, just say it's in New York City. So that is a plus for me, because watching movies growing up and having New York being so mystical, magical, like it feels like it feels like a JC song, you know. It feels like one of Spike Lee's movies. It feels like New York, it means something. It has style, it has culture, and not a lot of films do that nowadays that are set in New York. So doing that just made it feel special to me, watching movies growing up. Like, I want to visit that New York. And New York nowadays, I don't know, it might be close, it might be more similar than I think it is, but in some movies it feels like it's lost that New York magic. But the story is perfect, except one thing, and that one thing is the relationship with Dee. I thought it felt forced, and was really the only thing that kind of felt like a movie. Not that that's a bad thing, it just felt like, okay, this feels like a movie. It doesn't feel like it needed to be there for the story to move forward. This movie takes a lot of tropes and makes them feel fresh, except for this one. This trope feels like all the other times I've seen in other movies. Main character falls in love at the end. It happens in literally every movie. It doesn't matter what it is, action movie, horror. They fall in love at the end. Except, and it felt like in this movie it wasn't needed to tell that story. You could have hinted to it. It didn't need to be shown on screen. But it's her movie, and she can do what she wants to.
You're goddamn right.
I personally felt like that bothered with my investment towards the end of the film, taking me out of it during the third act, which, well, most films will have you the most invested. I feel like it took me out here and there. It didn't completely take me out, but that's just me personally. Other than that, I had no problems with the film. Zero, zilch, none. And I think the film's pretty great, which is why I gave it 9 out of 10 wings. Tell me what you thought about the film down in the comment section below. Scroll back up, hit the like button, share the video, and subscribe.